I ran, and everybody knew I was a rich person. I built a great company. And then they had, oh, but he'll never put in his financials because maybe he's not as rich as people think. Not that it matters, but I'm much richer. I don't need anybody's money. It's nice. I don't need anybody's money. I'm using my own money. I'm not using the lobbyists. I'm not using donors. I don't care. I'm really rich.
The idea that Trump is a billionaire was the original big lie. In fact, it helped make him president. Well, surprise, surprise, it turns out he's not as rich as he claimed to be. Trump's lawyers informed the court today that he has not been able to secure a bond for the $464 million judgment against him and his co-defendants in the New York civil fraud trial. His lawyers now say that getting a bond in the full amount is a, quote, practical impossibility after reaching out to some 30 companies. They say that that's because most companies will not accept his properties as collateral and instead are looking for cash to cover the bond. The clock is ticking for Trump with only 1 week left to post the bond, or New York Attorney General Letitia James can start seizing his assets, which she said she's ready to do. And this is the inherent problem with a man running for president who's increasingly desperate for money, because who knows what he might do to find it, from potentially looting the RNC, thanks to his newly installed loyalists, including his daughter-in-law, to getting help from some of his foreign dictator friends, to launching fresh rounds of disinformation to bamboozle his way back into the White House. Joining me now is Barbara McQuade, former U.S. attorney, professor at the University of Michigan Law School, and author of the New York Times bestselling new book, Attack from Within, How Disinformation is Sabotaging America. First off, congratulations, Barb, on the new book. Very exciting and very important. Disinformation. And I wanted to go back to that first lie, because Donald Trump used the ruse of him being super wealthy to attract a lot of supporters. And the fact that he was famous also helped. That is now falling apart in the wake of him being called to the carpet to produce the cash. What do you make of the possibility that he might end up having to cough up some property?
Yeah, you know, he has always campaigned on this idea that I am not beholden to anybody. I don't need donors. I don't need money from anybody because I'm independently wealthy. I'm rich. He says it all the time. Well, it turns out he's not. And it turns out the only reason he was able to amass this fortune is because it was built on a foundation of lies. That's what was exposed in this case. And so now he owes more than $450 million. And Joy, the reason a bond is required when somebody wants to appeal is because that money is now due and owing to the taxpayers of the state of New York. And so if he wants to delay an appeal, that's fine, but he has to put the money up because it's designed to avoid someone filing a frivolous appeal just for the purpose of delaying the payout. Now, he says 30 lenders of bonds have said, we can't provide you with a bond. You're not a good credit risk. Well, that's the very reason that the state wants this bond. He's trying to offer a discount of putting up $100 million. And I think that the court wisely says, no, for the same reasons these surety bond companies say you're not a good risk, the court doesn't think he's a good risk either. And so I think this is a last-ditch effort to try to get some grace and some stay. But I think ultimately he's going to have to sell some properties. You know, imagine if you said, I know I owe you some money, but it's tied up in my car and my house and some other things, so I can't really pay it. You got to sell the stuff. Yeah. And so I think that if he doesn't, Letitia James can begin on March 25th to actually seize assets. And so if he wants to have his choice of what to sell, he needs to act before then.
But now, having pervade being on The Apprentice and people perceiving him as the people's billionaire, now he's been president, which has afforded him a lot of latitude in terms of avoiding all of these court cases, which are now down to 88 criminal counts. But there's also this other thing that's happened is that he's created a cult of personality. So now people don't even believe that Joe Biden is president. The numbers are really actually frightening. 36% in a Washington Post poll don't believe that Joe Biden is even the president of the United States. And we're seeing this kind of disinformation really ratcheted up. It was ratcheted up in 2016. It's how he became president. The first time Russia got involved and did it. We're now seeing AI used. What is the risk of disinformation in the upcoming election?
Oh, I think it's enormous, Joy. I think, we've seen these tactics of authoritarians for decades with, repetition and conspiracy theories and big lies and other things. But Donald Trump has something at his disposal that Hitler and Mussolini didn't have, and that's social media, truth social, artificial intelligence. And so I think